This one's called hip 90-90. If you can kind of see how I'm sitting in this position, my knee is at 90 degrees and my hip is kind of at 90 degrees as well from my torso. What I want to do with this one is you can use this as a stretch. So the first part, if you want to stretch that posterior side, you can hinge over, get a good stretch that way and hold it. Just try to let the leg relax, get a good deep stretch here. But what we want to use this for is we want to use this more as a mobility and deep hip activation exercise. So that's going to be focusing on the back leg with internal and external rotation. So what you're going to start with is your hand is going to be on your ankle. Okay, the more you lean to the away from it, the easier it's going to be. The more upright you are, the more challenging it's going to be. I want you to try to be as upright as you can while still being able to achieve full range of motion. So what you're going to do is you're going to do hip external rotation, keeping that foot down, lifting just that leg up as high as you can. If you feel like you can only lift it this high, try leaning over a little bit and doing this. If this is way too easy, then like I said, to make it harder, try to be a little more upright. You're going to do 10 external rotation. Next one's going to be internal rotation. So to start off, you might need to lean a little bit farther because this is more challenging, but this knee is going to stay down and you're going to be lifting that back foot off of the ground. Again, if you can do it easily, make yourself a little bit more upright and really try to lift that leg. If you can't lift it very high, grab the inside of your foot here, inside of your shoe, and kind of give yourself a little bit of a boost. Okay, you're just going to do 10 of those, and then you just switch sides and repeat. This is called foam roller thread the needle. Your hand is going to be down on the inside of the foam roller. Other hand is going to go behind this arm in front. This left arm, my left arm here, can bend a little bit to give you more thoracic rotation. But what you're going to do is you're going to slide and you're going to reach as far over as you can. Hold it for about a second at the end. And you're going to come back all the way back to the starting position. Roll out as far as you can. And come back. You're going to do that on both sides. This one's a foam roller snow angel. What you're going to do is you're going to get a long foam roller. You're going to put your tailbone on the very bottom, head resting on the top with the foam roller going all the way up your spine. What you're going to be doing is your palms are going to be face up and you're going to be trying to keep your wrists as close to the ground as you can. You're going to snow angel motion, just kind of trying to go through full range of motion here. Trying to keep your wrists close to the floor. Don't force it. If you feel like there's a spot that's really tight, you can just try to kind of relax and hang out there to allow the pecs and the other parts of that anterior shoulder girdle to stretch a little bit. And you're just going to go all the way back down. Okay, you're going to go all the way up through full range of motion. And then you're going to come all the way back down. This one's called a serratus wall slide. I'm going to show you it with a band. The band's not necessary, but I like the band as it causes you to have to activate the lateral shoulder here and stabilize. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this band, you're going to put it around your wrists. When you're pulling the band, I want your wrists about 12 to 14 inches apart, maintaining the tension. As you can kind of see, when I'm holding this, I don't let my elbows flare. I try to keep my elbows in the forearm fairly vertical, so I'm not letting myself come out in this position as I do it. I'm going to take this foam roller, put it on the wall, start about eye level with myself, pull the hands about 12 to 14 inches apart. I'm going to slide the band up the wall and lean forward. I should feel a good stretch in my lats right underneath my armpits. Hold that stretch for about 3 seconds or so, and you're going to slide all the way back down, making sure the elbows are staying in, not flaring out. Going to go all the way back up. Feel a good stretch underneath there. Going back down. This one is a posterior pelvic tilt with a golf club. So golf club is your stabilizing position. So if you're lining up to hit a swing, this is my kind of position. So I want to stay natural like that. So what we're looking at is we're trying to get you to transition between anterior and posterior pelvic tilt. So what an anterior tilt is if you look at my hands, anterior is forward, posterior is back. So as I roll my hands forward, my butt sticks out and my low back is kind of arched. That's an anterior tilt. Posterior tilt, my hand's going to pull backwards, rotating my pelvis backwards, tucking my hips underneath. My low back, if you can see, flattens out. So I want you to work on the transition between anterior and posterior tilts. Try to anterior as much as you can, tucking the hips underneath as far as you can. Okay? You can do this one a couple times, maintain that golf posture. Your upper body really should not move at all, just the hips are going to be moving. This one is a half kneeling banded wall open. I'm using a yoga block here. It's not necessary, but it is a good reminder to kind of focus on that dissociation of upper and lower body. What I want to do is I want my inside leg down towards the wall. So my right leg is really close to the wall. Left leg, lower leg is going to be vertical with the floor. So I don't want your foot out here. That tibia, that lower leg is not vertical. I want it vertical, perpendicular to the ground. Pushing that yoga block into the wall. As I'm doing this, I'm going to take my inside hand, put it parallel to the floor. Outside hand is going to grab the band. Doesn't need to be super tight, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to rotate open as far as I can with the torso. I can turn my head, trying to get that hand towards the back wall, and I'm going to come back. If you're really struggling with it, then you can use a little bit looser of a band, but what I really don't want to have happen is you try to turn so much that you lose the block. What I want to focus on with that block is that pelvis stays locked and just the upper body is rotating. So you're gonna do 10 of these or so per side, and then the opposite side, obviously, you just turn and the other leg goes up, the other leg is down. This one's a half kneeling adductor stretch. So what I'm gonna do, adductors are inside the thigh here. Bring my leg out to the side like this, okay? What I'm gonna be doing is I'm not gonna be bending over with my body, I'm gonna be hinging, so kind of pushing my hips backwards, and that's gonna cause this to stretch, okay? If you want more of a stretch, if you're like, yep, this feels like a pretty decent stretch, but I want more, you can either push your butt back further or you can side bend towards the leg. I like the side bend towards the leg because it causes a little more tension all the way throughout. If you need a little less tension, then you can tend to slide a little bit away. So those are the kind of the three ways that you can increase tension or decrease. Pushing the butt back, leaning more to the side, or taking a little bit of slack off. So you're gonna lean all the way over. After you finish that side, then you're gonna switch sides. So this is a half kneeling hip flexor stretch. What I want you to focus on with this one is to do a posterior pelvic tilt initially. So what I wanna do is I wanna flatten this low back and kind of lock in that hip flexor at the origin so it can't move. Because if I don't do that, I can stretch my hip flexor like this. I'm not really doing a whole lot, okay? What I want to do is I want to do that posterior tilt. My back is flat. I feel tension here. That's as far forward as I can go. You're going to hold that. And then if you want to add another layer to it, hands can go over the top and you side bend away while maintaining that position. Then you're going to reset, shake it off, come back into it, do that posterior tilt, tucking those hips underneath, leaning forward, side bending into it. Do that a couple times, then switch sides.